Hi, I'm Dr. T, and I'm a pediatrician. On Ask Dr. T, I answer health questions from teens. Questions ranging from safe sex to self-love to questions about body parts. Let's get this episode started. These questions are all about vaginal discharge. In case you haven't gotten there yet, most vaginas have discharge, at least a little bit most of the time. It's totally normal. All right, question number 1. I have discharge all the time, every day. It has a smell to it and can sometimes be yellow or white and thick or white and watery. It varies. Is this normal? Yes, totally normal. So depending on where you are in your menstrual cycle, meaning you have a period and then no period, but you have ovulation and then swoops right back to the period, depending where you are on your cycle, the amount and the type of discharge that you experience from your cervix can vary, and that's totally normal. In fact, you may even notice a bit of a pattern to it. Usually around the time of ovulation, so that's going to be again at some point between your two periods, you're going to notice that the discharge is a little bit thicker, and it's really more of a sign of what's happening inside your uterus. So it's totally normal for it to change and fluctuate throughout your cycle. Totally fine. Question number 2. I have sorry, I thought it said I have a vagina. It says, I know a vagina is supposed to be wet, but what are girls supposed to do if they are too wet? How would I decrease the wetness throughout the day? Because it makes me feel embarrassed. Okay, so on average, anywhere from about a teaspoon of discharge every day up to a tablespoon can be totally normal. It can be uncomfortable though, and even if you're wearing a pad all the time, it just feels weird. So if this is something that really bothers you, you could talk to your doctor about possibly trying birth control, because hormones are responsible for some of the changes in the vaginal discharge that we experience. Birth control might be able to cut down on some of that discharge. Again, if it really bothers you, it might be worth trying, even just for a month or two, to see if you notice any change in your discharge. But anything else, there really isn't a lot of evidence for things that would decrease discharge, as long as you don't have an infection. And that would be something that a doctor could check for. But if it's been happening for a long time, it's very likely your own body, and that's okay. All right, question number 3. Sometimes I see white in the opening of my vagina. I'm wondering if it's a yeast infection? That's the only symptom I have. So, probably not. It's probably just one of the different types of discharge that you have, depending on where you are, again, in your menstrual cycle. So, yeast infections are going to feel more like itching, burning down there. You might notice some redness, and the discharge is generally going to be a thicker, clumpy, white discharge. And it's going to be a change in your normal discharge too. But if you just notice white every once in a while, that could be yours, and that's okay. Question number 4. How do I make my vagina wetter? So, if you baseline want a wetter vagina, and that's your business. I suspect this is probably more related to sex. So during sex, if you need to get a little bit wetter, yes, arousal can certainly produce extra discharge, but not always, or at least not always enough to make sex and inserting a penis comfortable. So lube is going to be the best option for you. If you are having sex, inserting something into the vagina, whether that's a penis or a toy or a finger, and you need things to be wetter, lubrication is going to be your best bet if arousal isn't producing an increase in fluids. One other thing to think about is if you are not on a regular period schedule, it's possible that estrogen levels in your body are a little bit off, which is what causes a wetter vagina. So it might be worth talking to your doctor too, to see if there's anything to test for or anything else to consider when it comes to vaginal moisture. Question number 5. Can having too much sex or masturbating too much cause your vagina to get more and more dry over time? No. No. The thing that does cause vaginal dryness over time is going to be changes in estrogen. So changes in the body's hormones. Usually that's going to be closer to menopause time. And that'll do it for vaginal discharge, round 1. And remember, if you have a question for Ask Dr. T, you can either respond in this video or submit through my website, askdrt.net.